Which is better, United Aviate Academy or the American Airlines Cadet Academy? What's up, people of the internet? My name is Louis, and as of a few weeks ago, I got accepted into both the American Airlines Cadet Academy and the United Aviate Academy. So this left me in a bit of a pickle. Which one do I choose? In this video, I'm going to run over what these programs are, who they are for, what the requirements are, how they work, and ultimately how I made my decision. So, what is the American Airlines Cadet Academy and the United Aviate Academy? Well, basically, both these programs are accelerated flight training programs. It requires a full-time commitment, and they both last over a period of about 12 to 14 months, depending on how you progress as an individual. One of the great things about these programs are that you do not need any flight experience whatsoever. So if you've never been in an airplane, if you've never done a flight lesson, that's okay, you can still apply. As long as you don't have more than your private pilot's license. If you've got an instrument rating, unfortunately, that is not allowed. Both programs offer career guidance, mentorship, whatever you want to call it. Basically, there's a direct flow to the majors. There's finance options available. You get flight benefits, at least with the United. With the American one, it's a little bit different, but I'll get into that. And they both cost about 100 to 120-ish. Big on the ish because it depends how you progress. It'll also be less if you have your private pilot's license already, so you can subtract about 20-ish thousand from that. Okay, so how are these two programs different? Well, let's start with United, because United is a little confusing at first. You have the United Aviate, and then you have United Aviate Academy, which they're two different things, even though they sound the same. United Aviate Academy is what we are comparing to the American Airlines Cadet Academy. It is their wholly owned flight school, if that is what I can call it. It's one location, it's in Arizona, and United own the whole facility. It's a 0 to 0 flight school. So you start from 0 or your private and work your way up to your commercial license. Once you have your commercial license, you progress into Aviate. What that basically means is you are part of the Aviate program, no surprise, but you are also entitled to flight benefits, which for some could be very beneficial depending on how much you fly around and if you plan on traveling anywhere. Other than those benefits, you also have finance options with Sallie Mae and Liberty Bank. Once you are accepted into the Aviate Academy, you can also apply for scholarships. There's a whole list of scholarships on their website. One of the other big benefits of the United Aviate program is if you finish your training at Aviate, they have partner airlines where you can get hired as a first officer at as little as 300 hours. Tradewind, which is a 135 operator, hire first officers starting as low as 300 hours. So that is, in short, what makes up the United Aviate Academy. Maybe somewhere in the future I can do a video about the Aviate program, but at this moment I don't think it's relevant to this video. The American Airlines Cadet Academy is a little more traditional in the sense that it is American Airlines has partnered with a bunch of other flight schools. So they have 7 locations in total that's kind of spread around the country, and they partner with other flight schools. So American don't own the flight schools or the airplanes, they are just partnered with these locations. One of the big benefits of the American Airlines Cadet Academy is that you can get financing through the American Airlines Credit Union. Wow, I'm saying American Airlines a lot of times. One of the benefits of the American Airlines Credit Union finance option is that during the period of your training, you do not accrue any interest on your loan, or you're not required to make any payments. Once you finish your training or graduate from the academy, you still don't have to make payments. I mean, you can if you want, obviously, that would be a good thing. But it's called the time building phase. So up until 1,500 hours, or until you get to ATP, you don't have to make any payments. Interest does start to accrue, but I mean, if you are working as a flight instructor or you have some sort of other low time pilot job, having that stress of making big loan payments really takes, it helps when you don't have to worry about those big payments. Obviously, you're going to have to pay it back at some point. But if you think about it, once you get to your 1,500 hours and you get hired at a regional, you're going to make a little bit more money, and then you'll be able to afford bigger payments. And then once you get to your ATP license or 1,500 hours, it becomes a 30-year loan, basically. So depending on what your interest rate would be that you secure that loan for, that's kind of what your monthly payments would be based off. The other big benefit of the American Airlines Cadet Academy is you partner with one of their 3 regional airlines from the get-go. So from day one, you partner with either PSA Airlines, Envoy Airlines, or Piedmont Airlines. Each one of those kind of have their own, shouldn't say limitations, but different ways that you can build your time. Envoy is probably the most strict in the sense that they have a few locations where you have to build your time as a flight instructor. PSA allows you to build your time as a flight instructor anywhere as long as you do it as a flight instructor. And did I say Piedmont or PSA? Piedmont, you don't have to do, you can build your time any way you like. So Piedmont allows you to build your time any way. You can tow banners, you can fly skydivers. What am I saying? You can do pipeline patrolling. You get the idea. So once you finish the American Airlines Cadet Academy, or once you graduate from the program, you then become a cadet with whichever regional that you partnered with. And then on top of that, you get a payout. I think it's 10 or 15,000. I can't quite figure out which one it is because it's kind of worded confusingly. But you do get a cash payout, and you can do with that whatever. You can go on a vacation to Bali, or you can buy a boat, or you can pay off your loan, or you can go to the casino or buy a wife or girlfriend lots of flowers. And another added benefit of that regional partner is that you kind of have a conditional job offer. You sign a contract saying that once you get to 1,500 hours within a 24-month period, you are next in line for a new hire class. Obviously, take that with a bit of salt, because nothing is ever guaranteed. It can constantly change. The aviation industry is like a roller coaster. So take everything with a grain of salt. As far as requirements go, it's fairly simple. You need to be over the age of 18. You need to have a high school diploma, GED, whatever you call it. Pass a background check. You need to have a passport and no more than a PPL. As far as citizenship goes, for the United Aviate Academy, you need to be a permanent resident or a citizen. For the American Airlines Cadet Academy, you only need, this is according to their website anyway, you only need the legal right to work in the US, which is a little different to being a permanent resident. It's 2 different things. But if you don't have a green card as such, you can't apply to the United Aviate Academy. But it seems like if you only have the right to work, you can still apply to the American Airlines Cadet Academy. Don't quote me on that. That is just what it says on the website. So it could change. Who knows? Okay, so who did I choose? Well, drum roll. Sorry, I don't have any special effects. I don't know how to edit videos. I selected the American Airlines Cadet Academy. Woo! Basically for 2 simple reasons, really. One being that the nearest location is pretty close to where I live. So there's no major, there's still a move required, but it's fairly simple. It's about an hour away from where I currently live. And number 2, I really like the finance option available through the American Airlines Credit Union. I think those 2 things kind of fit my current situation the best. And ultimately, really, I think both programs are great programs. So whatever your situation is, you need to analyze what makes most sense for you and what kind of benefits are you looking for and what is your goal for the next year, for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, and how does that apply to each scenario. Other things I recommend doing is just go to your local flight school. Go on Google Maps, type in flight school, nearest flight school, and just go for a discovery flight. It might feel or seem a little intimidating once you go into a flight school for the first time if you've never been to one, because it's gonna seem like everyone there knows what's going on and you do not. And that's fine, because everyone in there at some point were in your shoes, so it's totally fine. But go for a discovery flight, see if it's something that you like. Maybe you hate it, maybe you love it, and if you love it, that's just gonna give you so much more drive and excitement and energy to push forward and pursue this even more. So I highly recommend doing that. Something else you can also do if you really want to is to go see if you can get your first class medical. That's another requirement that I left out, sorry. But you do need a first class medical. Obviously, if you're gonna fly an airplane at an airline, you're gonna have to have a first class medical. So it's probably a good thing to get one of those before you get too deep into this, because it's gonna be a big bummer if you are halfway through your training and you spend thousands of dollars and you can't get a first class medical. That's gonna suck a lot. So maybe do that. Okay, that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. If there's any questions or recommendations for future videos, stick them in the comments, and I will check it out and see you guys on the next one, if there is gonna be one, because I don't know, because this is my first video ever. So wish me luck.